Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make 6 perfect bow staves out of a tree in the woods. Welcome to Western Kansas. Today we're going to be chopping some Osage. So when a lot of these trees were planted, they were planted in hedgerows, kind of like you see behind me. They were designed to keep things out, keep animals in, livestock, break the wind. And they were used for fence posts, but the problem that you run into with hedgerows like this is oftentimes they are grown up in a really nasty morass, kind of like this. You can see right here, squirrels have been actually munching on this. As far as I know, squirrels are the only animals that actually seek out Osage or the hedge apples. But right here, you can see this is an absolute mess because it drops its seeds in bunches like this oftentimes. And because of how they planted them when they planted them, oftentimes it'll be all sorts of messed up like this. So if you see a tree like this, you're not going to be getting good straight staves out of it. You're going to have to look for something else. So a lot of these are either drooped over to the side, are twisted, or they grow in a massive knot of a bunch of branches. So as you can see here, this is just an absolute mess. It looks like Sleeping Beauty and the hedge that they had to get through to fight the dragon witch queen or whatever. So anyway, I'm gonna keep looking. What you want is a straight tree, probably taller than you are, or a straight section rather, of non-twisted bark without a bunch of branches coming out. And as you can see, we have yet to find one of those. So here for the moment I've found a tree that I actually kind of like. This one does have a couple of issues which I'll show you, but I think this will actually be a good candidate to split out. As you can see, I'm surrounded by a bunch of trees that I do not like, but right here we've got one that is relatively straight, doesn't have branches coming down on the sides, does have one knot coming out right about here. Downed the Bodark, the Osage orange. As you can see, it's behind me. It's probably measuring, call it 65 inches or so. And you can kind of tell how difficult it is to cut. I was able to get through most of it with my ProMac used chainsaw, but then that gave out, so I had to use my steel, and my steel is not sharp. Growth rings, pretty decent. Good size. Trees that grow out in the open are actually going to have much better growth rings, but we're going to get this into the truck and get moving. So now that I've found the right tree, I've chopped it down, I've got it in my truck, and I've got it home, the next step, hopefully very soon after, is going to be to varnish and seal the ends. So that's what I'm going to show you now. Here I am using a varnish that I have had since well before this house. This is probably 40-year-old varnish. It doesn't really matter what it is. And I'm going to put it on the ends. I'm also going to put it on the ends of this wedge because I think this wedge is pretty. Excuse me. Put it on this wedge because I think this wedge is pretty, and you never know when you might need a nice little wood wedge. So here you can also see the difference. Here you have bark, sapwood, heartwood. Heartwood is the stuff that you really want. So terrible lighting, but the last step in this process is to split the log into staves. So I actually noticed something interesting about this log. This is actually 2 trees that grew together as one. So you'll see in the growth rings of that tree, the first tree right here, which was completely enveloped by this bigger tree, which is right here. So in order to split this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to cut the difference right here. So split through here down. We'll see if that works, because the grain is going to follow where these separate trees actually grew together. And that is one of the problems that you run into with Osage quite a bit. So we'll see how that works. Focus. Okay, so this is the final result of my work. I was able to get out. Today is the next day, so I do recommend splitting these right after you finish cutting them in the wood. So cut them down, seal them, and then split them as soon as you can. They split really nice right after you. If you get to them, it gets really difficult to split, or at least more difficult to split if you wait too long and let that kind of dry out. It splits really well if you do it right away. I also recommend cutting in the winter when the sap is down. It helps your saw not gum up as much, and it also helps with getting the moisture out. There's just less moisture moving in the tree. But as you can see, these are about 67 inches. I'm going to make perfect self-bow staves. I do have a lot longer, but as you can see, these are actually really, really straight. I mean, you have a couple issues. So right here, that might be an issue, that branch that was in there. But honestly, I mean, in terms of like straight staves, with no knots, no branches coming out, these are really, really good staves. So I'm really excited about them. Appreciate you guys joining along with me. We were able, like, as you can see, to make 6 perfect staves out of this, and I will let these dry out for about a year, and then after that, either sell them off or make some self bows with them. Best bow wood in the world, in my opinion. Bodark Osage Orange.